And Nancy, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Good evening, everyone. We are pleased to have all of you here today. To give you a brief introduction about Atticus, Atticus Advisor is a management consulting firm which also provides training for corporate skill development. Atticus provides certification program followed by live project opportunity, which enables students to build their profile for entrance preparation, job interview, higher studies, and holistic upskilling. For today's session, we have on board Mr. Partho Sarthi Ghosh. He is an electrical engineer from Techno India, Kolkata, and MBA in Finance from NMIMS Mumbai. He has over 7 years of experience ranging from sales, operation, analytics, and management consulting. He has got extensive experience in insurance, retail, pharma, and BFSI sector. He has been pivotal in converting as well as servicing a large number of clients for Atticus Advisor in both management consulting and service operations. He is also a avid reader and a writer, which contribute his storyboard skills. Today's webinar will be taken by him. Thank you, Partho, for giving us time for today's session. Now it's a time to hand over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words, Nancy. All right. Can you all hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So just before we get going, a couple of things to keep in mind. For the sake of this webinar, if any of you have any problems with audio at any time, all you have to do is just click on mute once and unmute yourself. That's step one. If that doesn't work, what you want to do is simply drop off and connect back. That also seems to work. So you just close the exit the webinar window and you just click on the link again and you can join back. If that doesn't work, what you can do is just ping us on chat and we will tell you what are the next steps that you can help. So you can use the WhatsApp chat or the Zoom chat. So brief introduction as Nancy has already given about the firm. The management certification program is particularly useful for two types of people: those who are MBA aspirants or enrolled ones who are going to be entering into their MBA this year, people who are certain that they want a career in management, they want a career in MBA, in finance, marketing, HR, or operations, and those who have already selected their specialization or they selected their field of work, but would like to deepen or be further knowledgeable in their own sector. So there is two types of programs which we have. One is the fundamentals course, which talks about at a high level an overview across all subjects, which is finance, marketing, HR, and operations. And the other is the advanced certifications, which is an advanced or a higher level of detail in finance, in marketing, operations, or in HR. So today's session is going to be a little different compared to the ones that we have already done. Um, I'm not going to lie, it is becoming a little monotonous, just talking about the fundamental concepts of finance and marketing repeatedly. And if Nancy will permit me to do that, I have I asked her permission for this, Nancy. What we
Yes,
will
sir.
be doing today, thank you, is understanding equity and debt. I don't know which bucket to put it in, whether you want to call it HR, finance, operations. It's certainly not HR, but it's a mix of both finance and operations because it falls under the purview of economics. Economics is the sort of the foundation of all subjects in management. Economics drives finance and HR and so on. Some of the eco grads, I'm sure there are a couple of eco grads in this group also. The economics graduates and the economics majors or people who like economics would appreciate what I would be speaking about now. We'll be talking about equity and debt today, and I'll be using this as my sort of bite board. Nancy, if it's all right with you, can you help me with volunteering with some of the answers? So I'll be asking a couple of questions, maybe you can answer them.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Question one, um, equity and debt. Are you aware of their difference, or what is the difference between equity and debt?
So not majorly I know about it, but equity is basically, the value of a shares issued by the company.
Right. Very good. Right. So that's the technical definition, which is equity. Now let's just go back a little bit and let's understand what equity meant in the old ways, which is before the world of stock market and everything. Word equity implies ownership. So there is a lot of equity that I have in this person. There's a lot of equity I have in this relationship, a lot of equity I have in this country, which means that you have a lot of ownership, attachment, or possession in another entity. So, which is where the concept of equity came, where you're talking about shares, where you're going to be a part owner of a company or an entity. This is where the concept of equity as a word comes. Debt as a concept of a word implies loans, which means an interest, which implies deposits, terms, rates, mortgage, securities. All of these are words that you have to associate with debt. Just see the chat. I think somebody is just asked it. Nancy, can you mute your? Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Nancy. Right. So let's start with debt. Let's try and understand this entire value chain of how a debt market or a bond market works. Let's take the example of L&T. And I'm sure most of the people here, I'm guessing many of you are familiar with how Bombay is. So let's talk about the Goregaon Malad flyover. What do you have? You have the Goregaon Malad flyover. Let's say that the value of that flyover or the cost of construction of that flyover is at 1250 crores, which is a feasible number. It's going to be somewhere around that because it covers a lot of construction, electric, waters, and all the utilities. So this entire flyover is going to cost somewhere around 1250 crores. This is the cost of the project. Cost of the project. Now, who is the one constructing it? It is being constructed by L&T. So the contractor or the constructor is L&T. Now, L&T can prepare this bridge at a cost of 1250 crores. But who is going to be the owner of this flyover, or who is going to be the ultimate user or owner or customer? It was going to be BMC, Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, which is the municipal corporation of Mumbai. Alternatively, it could be probably the Maharashtra government. It could be a private road, but let's say for this case, it is the BMC, which is the Municipal Corporation of Mumbai. Now, when the tender comes out, BMC has declared that I am willing to pay a sum of 1250 crores to L&T to prepare the Goregaon Malad flyover, right? So L&T will get to work on it. Now, what is the cost of L&T to make this? What is the cost of L&T to make this? L&T can make this project in 750. All right. L&T can construct this project at 750 crores. This is the cost price for L&T. So what is the profit margin for L&T? That's very difficult. It is going to be 1250 divided by 750 minus 1. Those of you are unfamiliar of what I'm trying to do, all you have to do is look at my Excel course and you would figure out what I was doing. Right? Percentage. So L&T is keeping a 66% margin. If L&T is making something at 750 crores, L&T is selling at a 66% margin. Okay. Now, this is day one, which is January 2020. This is pre-corona, and it's sort of surreal to remember those days. In January 2020, when L&T finally converts this contract, in Jan 2020, when L&T finally converts this contract, it may not have the 750 crores. It may not have the 750 crores with itself. So how will it start work if you don't have the cost price for constructing the bridge? L&T can has a couple of options. L&T can borrow the money or use its own. Okay. So if L&T already has the existing money, which would act as the cost price for building this bridge, it can put the entire amount of it on its own. Alternatively, it can borrow the money. Let's say for the sake of this calculation, to make things simple, let's say that it borrows the entire money. So what does it do? It asks for the sum of 750 crores. It says, hey, can somebody lend me 750 crores? I would give you an interest rate, 10%. So total interest equal to 10% of 750 crores, which is 75 crores. So even after giving 775 crores in interest payment, L&T will still stand to make a massive profit. So even if in this case it says I want to have an interest rate of 20%, it would still stand to make a massive profit because it's just paying 150 crores, whereas the remaining 500 crores is 400 crores is something that L&T would still be earning. So this is what it does. Now let's go to the next level of borrowing the money. One single person lending out 750 crores is difficult, right? It it increases the word exposure or increases the risk of a single debtor to that profile, which is something that they may not be interested in. Conversely, what they do is the figure of 750 crores is split into one units of, so let's say this is 750, 750 crores is split into 10,000 people. In that case, it is how many per person? It is this divided by this 0.075 crores, which is 7.5 lakhs. 7.5 lakhs. 7.5 lakhs is a more manageable figure. So what does this mean? That the number of debtors is 10,000. Total fund raised is 750 crores. Value of each debt 7.5 lakhs. You have 10,000 people. Instead of one person lending you 750 crores, you have 10,000 people lending you 7.5 lakhs. The figure is the exact same. You can offer each of them a 20% interest rate or a 10% interest rate or something. Then you get return. Now let's talk a little realistic. Typically, if your cost price is 750 crores, you cannot be charging them a bigger margin than 15%, which comes to about 862 crores. So you have now charged people at a rate of 15%. तो अगर आपका खर्चा 1,000 रुपए का हो रहा है तो आपका प्रोजेक्ट का कॉस्ट हो जाएगा 862.5 crores. Okay? So if it borrows at a rate of 10%, what is the maximum sum that it would generate? 5% of profits. Okay? So it cannot possibly give it at 10% because there is a very tiny margin for them. What they actually do is give it at 6.5. That's the typical amount in which they lend out money. It's between 6.5 to 7%. तो ये सब तो ठीक है, लेकिन अभी इसका मतलब क्या है कि ओनरशिप किधर आ रहा है इधर? बताता हूँ. First thing is you have prepared an infrastructure bond. Infrastructure bond. Value 7.5 lakh. Interest rate, interest rate 6.5. What this means is anybody who has invested 7.5 lakhs with L&T, anybody who has invested 7.5 lakhs with L&T will get a 6.5% interest flat per year. This acts as an investment opportunity. And infrastructure bond is a security or an investment instrument. An infrastructure bond is a security or an investment instrument where the underlying for the bond is usually an infrastructure project typically funded by the government. Now, what is the certainty? Now let's look at this entire thing not from the view of BMC or L&T, but from your view. You get a bonus of 7.5 lakh rupees per year. You're very happy with that amount. And you say, hey, I want to put it in somewhere stable. I don't want to do a high risk thing. So you want to put it in a stable place. So what you do is, right, no worries. It's okay. I'll answer that. No worries. You want to put it in a place which gives you a better interest rate than your banks. Banks are going between 5.5 to 6.5. There's a lot of hassle. You have to declare things and other things. Sorry, just a second. We'll have to stop video for a second. Always. Hi, I'm back. You're going to find this infrastructure bond to be very attractive if your bank is giving you 5.5% or 6% rate. You're going to find this infrastructure bond very attractive. Attractive from a interest perspective. You're going to find it attractive from a stability perspective. तो स्टेबिलिटी कहाँ से आ गया सर? तो इसमें स्टेबिलिटी तो है ही नहीं. ये पैसा तो एलएनटी को जा रहा है. बात तो सही है, पैसा तो जा रहा है एलएनटी को. लेकिन एलएनटी ने जब आपको वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बॉन्ड इशू करता है, उसके टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस में क्या लिखा हुआ है? उसके टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस में लिखा हुआ है that that money which you are investing is going to be towards its recent projects. It may or may not declare which specific project or which one. That is up to their discretion. But from the category of how L&T is of its credit rating and credit worthiness, that it is going to be converting projects with the government. There is an absolute certainty that L&T, if L&T has the money, then L&T will make the flyover. There's an absolute certainty that if L&T makes the flyover, then the government will pay them their cost of project. And hence, your return is guaranteed. In general, the bond market or the debt market is stable. It's not high return, it's steady return. It's boring. It has got fixed returns, small percentages, small commissions, and so on. Equity is a different game. Just before I go to the next section, does anybody else have any question right now for me? Anyone has any questions? Nancy, IK?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Going ahead, let's talk about the equity market. The concept of equity comes from ownership. or stakeholders or shareholders. The concept of equity comes from ownership or shareholders or stakeholders. In a company, let us say today is day one. This is Jan 2020. You have person A, person B, person C, person D. All of them have invested rupees 10,000 to start a company. There are four people, A, B, C, and D, and they have invested rupees 10,000. So what is the total value of the company at this point of time? Will to come. Okay. So let me just make it a little clearer so that people can understand value of it. Investor. Let me just quickly make a formula. Okay. As of January 2020, the investors A, B, C, D had 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. That's the amount they put. So the value of the company is 40,000. So if on the next day they all decided, hey, you know what? This company doesn't work for me. मेरे को अपना पैसा वापस चाहिए. मेरे को अपना क्या चाहिए? पैसा वापस चाहिए. Each of them are entitled to the money that they've invested, which is 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Now let's say it's June 2020. And it has so happened that the company has made some profits, made some losses, done its operations and everything. Now, uske baad, the total value of the company turns to be 1 lakh. The value of the company becomes 1 lakh. At this point of time, if somebody wants to exit, how much can they exit with? Let's pick it. This would be this. So on June 2020, when the value of the company is 1 lakh, each of them would be able to own, each of them would be owed 25,000 sum. Now, after a while, let's say the company value is now fallen in losses and has made minus 50,000. It has just been not profitable. They've been making a lot of losses. So eventually, they've made losses by the end of the year, which is December 2020. What would be the amount owed to each of them? Now, here's my question. If they want to shut the company, in December 2020, so let me just walk you through the example once. In Jan 2020, four of them started the company, put 10,000, 10,000. The value of the company is 40,000. In December 2020, they were idiotic people. They were not good at their work. And then they made a loss of 50,000. So what is the amount owed to each of them? Is it this? Is it something else? Is it this or is it something else? This is an Amazon 1,000 rupee question. I think somebody has just joined us. Afreen, right? Hello, Afreen. You want to give this a shot? A quick recap for you. There is a company whose value is 40,000 when it began, which is the amount invested by A, B, C, and D. After that, the company was valued at 1 lakh, which is this. After that, the company made losses and losses, and now the company's cash shows minus of 50,000. So, is this the right way to show how much equity each of the investors are holding? And this is an Amazon question. Wait for a little while for someone to answer. So no, this is not the right way. And if uh, this is the situation where the company has made losses, जहाँ पे कंपनी ने अगर जैन में अपनी शुरुआत की है और दिसंबर में उसका -50,000 है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि इन्वेस्टर्स को और पैसा देना पड़ेगा. This is not how it works. This is not how basic finance works. Okay, so do not ever think that I will just multiply by a percent of the ownership and this is how it works. No, it's a little more complicated than this. There is something called share price. There is something called enterprise value. The enterprise value of a company cannot fall below zero. It is not possible for an enterprise value of a company to fall below zero. If it has, then there is something extremely wrong with your accounting calculation, or there is something very wrong with your assumptions. All right. So, whatever is your enterprise value, when you divide that by the number of shares, you get your share price. So, if your enterprise value is 1.15 crores and you have uh, sent out, you know, 50 lakh shares, then the value of each share price is 130. Let's just increase this to make it a realistic example. Let's say that the value of the company is 1250 crores, then the number of shares is, and you have sent out 50 lakh shares, you have issued 50 lakh shares, then the share price of each unit is 2500. Now, if this enterprise value increases, your share price increases. If this enterprise value falls, your share price falls. This rule is applicable only in the equity market in the retail format. It is not applicable for actual shareholders who are majority shareholders or promoters. Let me write that down. This is applicable for retail shareholders or stock owners. For promoters, the story is a little different. A promoter, so this is the share prices per unit. For a promoter, he would himself own 25% of the entire company. 5% is a massive number of shares. So the amount of money held by him individually is going to be massive. The amount of shares that are dispersed in retail is a very, very small percentage. For example, TCS, Wipro, any of your companies, the entirety of their company is not given out in the retail markets. अगर आप रिटेल आउटलेट्स में जाके आप पूरे मार्केट से लेना चाहते हो, उनके स्टॉक्स खरीदना चाहते हो, आप चाके भी टीसीएस के मेजॉरिटी स्टेक होल्डर नहीं बन सकते, because majority stakeholders is held by the promoters. There won't be one, there might be multiple promoters, but they would be owning the entire company. Okay? Now, when I say the equity market, how does that? Let's just understand for the sake of this conversation, क्योंकि बातें तो बहुत चलती रहेंगी और मैं बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स आपको इक्विटी मार्केट समझा सकता हूँ. Debt market is something that we have just covered here. If anybody has any questions on the debt market and how did we make the Goregaon Malad flyover example, you can refer to our video later. For the equity market, let me give you this example. Let us say that there is someone called Mr. Ghosh. Mr. Ghosh is not a rich person. He has 10,000 rupees total to invest. यार मेरे को 10,000 से ज़्यादा invest नहीं करना है. So TCS का share prices around 2,500. ठीक है? How many shares can he buy? This divided by 25. Exposure IT 100, IT 100%। इसका मतलब है कि मिस्टर घोष ने बिकॉज अपना पूरा पैसा 10,000 यूनिट 10,000 रुपए का पूरा पैसा सिर्फ टीसीएस के शेयर में खरीदा है। उनका सिर्फ आईटी में ही स्टॉक्स है ना। अगर आईटी ने बहुत अच्छा किया, टीसीएस ने बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म किया, तो मिस्टर घोष को बहुत अच्छा प्रॉफिट मिलेगा। लेकिन अगर आईटी ने बहुत बुरा परफॉर्म किया, फॉर सम रीजन गिर गया, तो मिस्टर घोष का पूरा पैसा उड़ सकता है। Let's see conversely how does the market work, which is a mutual fund. म्यूचुअल फंड में 5 सेक्टर्स है, ठीक है। Let's say it has 5 sectors. It has IT, it has infrastructure, it has banking, automobile, and manufacturing. ठीक है। Nancy or anybody actually, can anybody volunteer me name of one IT company?
So it can be our own.
Can you give me a name of one IT company? Any IT company, very big famous IT company.
Very big.
Cognizant.
Cognizant. Thank you. One infrastructure company.
GVK.
We get okay. One banking company.
ICICI.
I see. Okay. One automobile company.
Mercedes.
One Indian automobile company.
Tata.
Tata Motors.
Motors.
And one manufacturing company. Somebody else? Anybody? Okay. Nancy, one manufacturing company.
Tata.
Okay. Tata Steel. No worries. Tata Steel is also. Okay. So they will all have a share price. Let us say Cognizant का share price चल रहा है 2700. ठीक है. GVK का चल रहा है whatever 350. ICICI का चल रहा है 4000. टाटा मोटर्स का चल रहा है 300. टाटा स्टील का चल रहा है 750. ठीक है. Now let us say this is day 1 and your mutual fund owner has told you कि सर आपको कितना एक्सपोजर चाहिए आप हमको बताइए, आपको कितना एक्सपोजर चाहिए आप हमको बताइए और बाकी हम देख लेंगे। आप उनको बोलते हो कि ऐसा है, मुझे आईटी में सिर्फ 15% चाहिए, इंफ्रा में 15% चाहिए, लेकिन बैंकिंग में 30% और ऑटोमोबाइल में 30% हो गया 90%। बचा खुचा जितना है आप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में डाल दीजिए। ठीक है। तो अभी क्या होगा, योर म्यूचुअल फंड सॉरी नाउ योर म्यूचुअल फंड is going to have people like Mr. Ghosh who are all invested in it. So your mutual fund will have number of people. Let's say there are 1000 people like Mr. Ghosh who have all invested 10,000 rupees. There are 1000 people like Mr. Ghosh who have all invested 10,000 rupees. So the mutual fund का value कितना हो गया? Yes. This, which is whatever is the number. ठीक है? Now, this is the total sum. This total sum is now going to be split across these stocks in this ratio. This total sum will be split across these stocks in this ratio. इसका advantage क्या हो रहा है? If for some reason your infrastructure is not performing, if for some reason your manufacturing is not performing, or IT is not performing, if one or two of your stocks are not performing or in your portfolio, the other ones, even if they are normal, your losses will decrease. That's step 1. Step 2, with 10,000 rupees, you would have been able to buy 1.5 shares. 10,000 रुपए, टोटल 8100 हो रहा है। तो आप 1 1.5 शेयर खरीद लेते हैं आईटी का, कॉग्निजेंट का 1 शेयर खरीद लेते, लेकिन अगर आपके जैसे सारे लोग एक साथ एक म्यूचुअल फंड का पूल बनाते हैं, आप इतने सारे रुपए वर्थ ऑफ शेयर्स खरीद सकते हैं, which gives you a bigger amount to invest and a bigger return. Hence, people invest either in the retail way, which is this, or in the mutual fund. I, I will be closing the session for now. This was just a simple conversation about how the debt market works and the equity market works. Can I have some questions now from the group?
So, in terms of shares, is it better to have a wide portfolio or invest in a few?
So it depends upon your risk taking ability. What that means is, अगर आपके पास इतना इन्वेस्टमेंट कैपेसिटी है कि आप ज्यादा पैसे इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो और यू आर ओके टू मेक लॉसेस, you can actually have a wider portfolio. But if you don't, you have a smaller pool, it makes sense that you put in absolutely steady stocks like ITC and LNT and ones. ये आपको कभी 20-25% returns नहीं देंगे. They will give you very steady returns, but they will give you guaranteed, sort of more guaranteed. Anybody else? Any other questions? Nancy, do you want to walk us through once the process, or do you want me to take that up?
So I will do.
Okay. If anybody else has any questions about the about what the session we just had about the debt market and equity market, the debt market and equity market is an important component of your finance modules also. So even if you're going, if and when you're going to start your MBA, if and when you're going to start with your majors in finance or in marketing, whatever I've taught is going to be critical. You need to have that as a fundamental base in your knowledge, right? Uh, okay, over to you, Nancy. Want to take over?
Thank you so much, sir. So in Atticus Advisor, we offer you two type of certification course. Basically, for the students like MBA aspirant, or you just wanted to learn about how the management work. As I, in a simple language, if I can say, like to run a car, you need four wheels. So to run a business cycle, you should know the basic of these four topics, like the basic fundamentals of finance, marketing, operation, and HR. So in this course, we will be providing you 4 week of a live training session. As Sir is taking, there will be different speaker who will be conducting and they will be training you. And on the basis of that, there will be certain application projects, assignments given to you. So just not you're learning, you're also utilizing that. And above that, we have two life projects. So you will be just exposing your knowledge also, just not learning theoretical concept, but also exposing that knowledge in a proper corporate firm. So if I take away the fundamental concept certification course consists of 5,000 rupees retail price right now, but in future, I mean, currently as the economic crisis and everything we are understanding, and we have come to the conclusion of 3,000, but we have a special batch and early bird session, so we can talk about the discount session later. So we also have some advanced courses in finance, marketing, operation, HR, and investment banking. So if you want to learn more in detail about the finance concept, so we have advanced courses and as well as investment banking. And above all, we also have Excel soft skill PPT session. So you can learn more about and just build your profile in a better way.
Thank you, Nancy. And just one more thing on live projects, you'll be working with consultants like me. So after you've gone through the training session, so this is not our day job. Our day job is to service clients all the time, and that's the knowledge base that we're trying to give to all of you. So after completion of your course, you would be allocated to trainers like us or consultants like us, and then we would be walking you through one entire how that particular part of knowledge which you've learned, for example, a debt market knowledge or a four P's knowledge, बिजनेस मॉडल का या फिर स्वॉट बीसीजी वगैरह का या सेल्स मैनेजमेंट के नॉलेज जो आपने है, हाउ डू अप्लाई दैट directly into the industry. Okay, that's it from my side. Anything else? Nancy, do you want to close this?
Yes, sir. So if there is any query, Afrin, Ira, do you have any queries? You can type in the chat box also. So, okay, I think so they will ping me later on personally. So thank you so much, sir, for giving your time, and thank you to you all for joining with us. For any queries, you can reach out to me on my personal number is with you all on our WhatsApp group. I will be rolling out the feedback form, and please fill up for our betterment to conduct more webinars like this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, sir. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah.